So we are live now.
Hello.
Hello.
Genau. Hello, everyone. And we are just for today. As you may can see that someone is missing, the reading which unfortunately couldn't make it today because she isn't feeling so well. But we wish her all the best for recovering quickly and be there the next time. And now let the guest introduce herself today.
Hello, my name is Ola. I have a booktube channel and it's called Ola Magick, as you can probably see. And I make booktube videos. Often I incorporate tarot and tarot readings with my book content, and for me it's very fun. I also do videos like you can pick a group of out of 4 groups of cards, and I do a reading, and that will tell you what you should read, stuff like that. Basically, that's my thing. So I don't know what much can I say more about that. I'm Italian, so if I misspeak something, that's why.
It's okay. I love the tarot things. I followed once when you did it like on Instagram, and really I was impressed. Like I was like, I wish I could just have like, I don't know. I was really impressed when you did it with Lana, right?
Yeah. We did a thing where she did runes and oracle cards, and I was reading tarot. It was very, very cool.
Yeah.
That's super fun also.
So Sasha.
Sasha from the Wild Sasha. I also have a booktube channel. Slowly, like I kind of disappear, but I'm coming back. Like I'm gonna make new videos. I swear. I just needed a break, but I'm here, and I'm also on Instagram, Twitter, etc. I'm trying to reading slump, kinda, but yeah.
Okay, it's me, Lucienne. My channel is the Dream Reader that you're currently on, and we do this live talk every month. So this is the 3rd one, and I'm really happy that we today talk about feminism in books and female characters.
And that's going to be interesting because I have more questions than answers, as usual.
Like all of us. But I also think that maybe the viewers can help us define what feminism really is. And also already, hello Cleo again.
Hello.
And then also, thank you. So that's Jella. I really, really love her videos. You should check out her content. It's amazing. Yeah. So, and the first question we want to answer is, what is feminism to you? So who of you wants to go first answering that?
Ola, go ahead.
Okay, I'm probably gonna be very disappointing and boring, but I believe that feminism is the actual equal rights between men and women, or male and female, or any possible mix of genders. I believe that's absolutely crazy to believe that we can all have the same possibilities, potentials, rights, and things. But that's exactly that. Unfortunately, to get there, sometimes you have to give a little bit more, maybe to the more marginalized parts, and that might seem unfair, but that's not the goal. So that's my concept of feminism. It's to bring to the same level the part that was pushed down.
Yeah, I kind of join you on that. Like feminism is all about like genders having like equal rights and having the same kind of opportunities and things like that. Like it's respecting everyone experiences, for instance, or who they really are, and giving them the same chance. That's
Absolutely
what it is for me. Yeah.
And also the same rewards, because when you maybe get the same chances, like let's assume that we all can get the same jobs, but then one gets paid off of the other parts. Still not there.
That's the most disappointing.
Yeah.
So I also have to say I really agree with you on that. It means equality for all, not just for females, but also all other people. And there are also great books out there. I just read All Feminists Wear Pink, I believe was the title. And it Don't Wear Pink. It's not Do Wear Pink, but Don't Wear Pink. Yeah, that's the book title. And it has had a lot of great essays from different people in it, and it was just like cool seeing how many different opinion on feminism exists out there in the world. So it's really interesting to see that we are all on the same page with that one.
That's great.
Yeah. So
I also believe one of the biggest misconception is that women want to have power. Well, I do not believe that that's feminism. So.
Yeah. And I feel like some people, they mix up feminism and gallantry. You know, like when a man is supposed to open the door before you, etc. That's, I mean, that's
one
not the
thing
same.
does not exclude the other.
Yeah. So I don't know, because now saying that I'm feminist, so you gotta open the door for me. That's not equal. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
no.
That
but also,
both
if you want to open the door for me because you want to, you can. It's not I'm feminist to do so. It's just a genuine wish that you have. And all the extremism are stupid, in my opinion. That's the thing.
Yeah. Because I don't know if you know that, because I got the comments one day because a guy, like, I was opening the door and I went and I waited for him to go, and he was like, no, you go first. And I'm like, yeah, but back in the days, like years and years back, first the men
I know.
in for the danger, you know, to see if everything was okay. And then the woman was, and he was like, from what planet are you coming from? Like, I was like, yeah, it's like, yeah. But yeah, interesting fact.
So then maybe we could talk about our favorite female characters and why they are our favorites. I'm really interesting. I really want to know what your favorite characters are. So
I honestly have to think about it, because as I told you, like when we were offline, I to everyone here, I typed on Google feminism in YA books, etc. And what came up was the definition, I mean, was kick-ass character in books. And I'm like, you can be feminist and be a kick-ass character, sure, but being a kick-ass character doesn't mean that you're going to bring some kind of feminism in the book. So I tried like to look for books that I've read, and the only ones that I see is like Girls of Paper and Fire from Natasha Engen. I'm not sure how you pronounce her name. So yeah, it all depends, I guess, from the definition. But as we said at the beginning, the definition is equality. Let's summarize it in one word: equality. And I think that in that book, because the women are sex slaves and are kind of fighting that brings up some feminism out of it. But again, I will need to hear what you think and the books you're going to come up with to make up my mind, because that definition, just kick-ass character, just threw me away. Like it lost me, actually.
So Ola, do you have any favorites?
Okay, yeah. One of my favorites is actually a character that we talked about in the pre-live show, and is Vasia from the Winter Night trilogy. I think she is everything and more that you might want to ask from a female character. She has not only that connection with nature and magic and beliefs of all the things, but also that healthy stubbornness that pushes her forward. And she is really fighting what is wrong in her society for herself to get what she wants. And I think that's brilliant. And we were talking before how in the first book you're not really already seeing all of that, because the focus is mainly on giving you the setting, and it's historical, so it's not even completely like imagined. it starts off a factual thing. And there's a lot going on there, so I'm not going to go into that. But she really just wants to be able to follow her own instincts, her passions, whatever she wants to do, and not to be caged. And that's something that men were able to do back then. And women absolutely not. It was absolutely madness believing that a woman could do something like that in that time and space. So I think that's a great example. And I have another character that I would like to mention that it's from a completely different book, but it's one of my favorite characters ever. And I'm talking about Lisbeth Salander from The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. And I think she's a very weird character because she brings in some more diversity. Lisbeth is neurodiverse, she's queer, she never identifies as bisexual, pansexual, or anything else. And she is considered kind of a weirdo in society. She has a very different look kind of thing and very different interests. And she is judged a lot for that. She also has PTSD and a very difficult past. And she really is kind of a black sheep, let's say. And still, she does whatever she wants and she accomplishes whatever she wants. She does not allow anyone to stop her, and she fights for safety of other women, which I think is very, very good and feminist. Because another part of feminism, I believe, is women supporting other women. I think it's very important to think that, because if we do not support women or our group of people, how can we help ourselves to be raised up to the level of equality that we are striving for? So I think that I can start with those, but I may have more if you want.
No, but now that you said dragon, and then you say she does what she wants or whatever, Lady Trent, a natural history of dragons. Oh my gosh, how could I forget that? Because she's exactly that. She is supposed to have children. She's supposed to get married, whatever. And all she wants is to become a naturalist. She wants to study dragons, but she lives in a society where women are not allowed to be scientists, to have like a passion, to whatever. And she does everything in order to get that and to live of her passion. So she's my favorite.
I love that you could remember.
The most obvious answer Sasha could have given, and she didn't came up.
Sorry.
It's your favorite books.
Yeah, I know. It's one of my favorite series because she really is amazing. And the thing is that usually in a series it has 5 books, and usually the first book is a 5 stars, then it goes down like 4, then 3 or whatever. All 5 books I gave them 5 stars, and that's impressive. Never happened before. So she's so sarcastic and sassy, etc. And especially because it's a memoir, so she wrote that years after she experienced everything. And sometimes she's gonna be like, I'm an old woman now, I can say that, whatever, and I love that. So yeah, definitely.
I have another little thing.
Yeah.
So there's a book called City of Girls by Elizabeth Gilbert. It's a contemporary. Actually, it's historical because it's set in the 40s in USA. And it's a story told by the point of view of an older woman. It's kind of like the same concept of Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, which is another pretty feminist book in my opinion. And Evelyn Hugo is another very feminist character. But I think City of Girls focuses even more on the thing of supporting other women and being all successful for our different skills. And it's a very, very great book. And I think while Evelyn Hugo is very talked about, this one is not. So I wanted to shout out City of Girls.
Yeah.
So for me, it was just as Ola had mentioned, my favorite female character is also Vasia or Vasilisa. I just love how she really questions society in the books. I love that a lot about her. And what I also love about her is that she's not perfect. I have this belief that a lot of other people think when they want to write a really feminist or great female character that this character needs to be perfect. And that's not the case for me. I just think I want this female character to feel real to me. Like I want her to make faults, not totally stupid faults, of course, reasonable faults. And I believe that's also things that happen to Vasilisa. She makes faults because she thinks that's the right thing to do, while that's not the best sometimes for other people. And that's just why I really, really love her as a character, that she's like normal. She's just feels like a normal woman to me in the books. And that's why I love her so much.
She feels very genuine, in fact. And also, all the characters that I mentioned, Elizabeth from Girl with a Dragon Tattoo, she is absolutely a flawed person. She's very morally gray. She has a very gray morality, like she's a knocker and she thinks it's right. So, I mean, you can see it's not black and white, and I love that we can approach that another part of feminism is assuming and demanding women to be perfect and to look perfect and all of that, like, I mean, anti-feminism. Feminism is to say, no, I can be a mess, but I'm still a woman, you know?
Yeah. The thing that you're saying, like, I can be a mess, but I'm still a woman, it really reminds me of Game of Thrones, with Sansa and her sister, who are going through so many different experiences, but they're going to hell and they're moving forward. So for me, they're also kind of bringing up that powerful, like, girl power kind of thing, like going from the ground until they basically have the man in their hands. But that's also like maybe over feminism because it goes beyond, but they're trying to reach what men have, like the power. They cannot make decision. They are involved in politics, which is also something women were not supposed to, like back in the days or whatever. So yeah.
And I also love that they are so, both Sansa and Arya, they are so different, and you can achieve that being wildly opposites. So
yeah, because one is fighting actually, and the other one is doing that through political things, etc. And that's just like too smart and totally, completely, as you said, different ways to actually reach the same like goal. Yeah.
So no more about characters, then maybe because we already started talking more about books in general, do we have favorite books, or maybe just a book we like with amazing feminist topics or characters in it? Silence.
Well, definitely, I already mentioned City of Girls, but maybe I can tell you a little bit more why I think this is a great example of that. It's a story, as I said, about an older woman in the 90s that gets contacted by a younger woman that wants to know what her connection of Vivian, the main character, the old woman, was with her father. And she goes back into her story, how she moved into New York in the 40s, and she went to live at this playhouse where they did like random plays. There was her aunts, and it's a wild place full of people that are all different sexualities, genders, there's a lot of sexual liberty, a lot of liberty of trying to find the power and the life that you want. And it's very, very humoristic. The characters go through all the crappy behaviors that you go through when you're growing up, all the mistakes, all the ugly things that you do, and they learn and they grow, and you see a growth of many different characters in the same house. They support each other, they push each other, they also fight, and they also grow up together, and they all grow in different directions, and they all get somewhere they want to get, going through struggles and all of that. And it's never ugly, it's also never easy, but eventually you get there. And the story is about freedom, getting where you want, and growing, recognizing that you did things that were bad or not perfect, and saying, well, I did that. I can do nothing to change that in the past, but I can change my future. So I think that's a great concept. And this woman, is not looking for anything that is traditionally for women, and that's a problem. But she never stops to look for the life she wants, even if it's not what is traditionally asked. I cannot say much because I'm not gonna spoil the book, but this is what I can say, I guess. And yeah.
No. The more we talk, the more I see books with feminism that I've read. So I love it. Because I have two more books, like Snow Like Ashes. That's a
I love.
series, and YA fantasy. And then there is another one that I would recommend is State of Sorrow by Melinda Salisbury. And both have to do with politics. I don't know, maybe I have something with women getting involved in politics in a sneaky way and then moving forward. But it's like State of Sorrow, basically the entire kingdom is like mourning because the king, so Sorrow's father, lost his wife and his son, and he forbids everything in the kingdom. You cannot wear colors, you cannot play music, you cannot like nothing. And she's behind the scene getting control over the entire kingdom. And it's just amazing how she does that. But the thing is that she doesn't do it herself, like alone. She gets help. And that whole dynamic, getting help from women, from men, from kids, from people with magic, etc., that whole combination of all the different people gathering together, working for the same thing, that just like, I don't know, that's power. That's
Yeah.
like bringing all the people together for the same cause, like for the same thing. I just found it like amazing. And I don't know why I think that in books, from what I've read, women or girls do it a certain way that makes it more like less aggressive and like maybe in a more sneaky way, but more lovable way, because they, like men, they will just fight. Like, I'm talking cliche here. Of course I haven't read all the books talking about that, but men's getting involved in politics, it's gonna be like, okay, you do it this way or you're gonna die, you know. When women, they're gonna try to make you think that their ideas was actually yours, and I
Yeah.
love that.
I always do that at my work.
That's so smart, and I love it. So yeah, State of Sorrow, I really enjoyed it, and that's a duology. So
I just thought that I wanted to talk about these two books, and they are Fierce Fairy Tale, and this one is called Great Goddesses by Nikita Gale. They are poetry collections by the same author, and the reason why I wanted to mention this is because they are extremely feminist and just all around diverse and beautiful and empowering. This one is based on fairy tales, and the one is based on the Greek mythology and all the goddesses, also the monsters and all the things. The reason why I want to talk shortly about this is because it's feminist also in the other direction. And what I'm trying to say is this empowers women to achieve what they want, but also this empowers men to be emotional, to embrace their feminine side. And I think it's a very, very important thing to remember when we're talking about feminism, because what we strive for is equality. And I believe that men are given this, as we call it, toxic masculinity, and they are not allowed to like pretty things or to cry or to feel very emotional about things. And this author, Nikita Gill, is incredible, and she's able to bring that out and to show you the more masculine and more feminine sides, if we want to talk about that like in a yin-yang way, you know. It does not mean female or male, when, as we would say when we're talking about sex, is the quality of feminine and the quality of masculine, and a good balance of them in any single person, no matter what gender they identify or none of the genders. I think it's important, and that's feminism to me also. So
yeah, you're right. Yeah.
I've just lost my words.
I'm sorry.
We talked a lot.
I was just so into listening to what you have to say that I was just like, Oh, every other thought is gone right now. It's like empty out. But yeah, I have to say that the two books that I have don't really classify as feminist books. One that I sort of was half aware by Jo Abercrombie, and that's because one of the characters of the female characters I find really amazing because she through half of the book she really struggles with that she is a queen, like she's in power, she's very young and she can't really fight like the man can, so that really stresses her out a lot until she one day uses her words to fight these political wars, and she really becomes really good at that and powerful, and I really do like that. It's just like Sasha said, that women make you believe you wanted to do that, and that's exactly what she also does with like the kings of the neighboring countries. That's just how she works with them, you could say, and that's something that I really enjoyed in that book. And then I'm also reading at the moment the Wheel of Time series, and what's really amazing in this series is that we have this society of just women. For one part, they are called Aes Sedai, and they are the only ones that really can touch like a magical power and use that, and men were banned from that, like because they've done something bad in the past. They're not allowed to use these powers anymore, and it's just a society of women. And I love to see in this society alone how different the opinions of these women are and how they really held power over the different kingdoms as well there. And that's just really amazing because we have a lot of different women in the society. Like we have one group that totally hates men, which is not good at all, and then we have one who adore men really, really a lot, and then we have like this middle ground and everything in between. And I love to see that because that really fits natural as well, because it's just like how our culture is as well.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Now that we talked about what we may like in these books, do we also have a book that disappointed us? Because I surely have.
So go for it. It's your time.
I was really, really disappointed by Vengeful by V. Schwab. And that is
Oh my god!
Why?
I'm sorry, Sasha. Just to tell you first, I love Wishes a lot. Wishes is one of my favorites, but I hated Vengeful a lot. And that was simply because we had this amazing character of Marcilla, and she just felt like a plot device. And that's the reason. And that's why I really hate this book, because she had so much potential. And why are we not using the potential this female character brings, instead of just making her a plot device for the man to get to their final battles? That was like really annoying to me, and I just couldn't stand that at all.
No, now that you explain your point, I kind of see it. I still very much love Vengeful, but yeah, I think it happens like in a few books. Like I don't have now like that comes to my mind a book that disappointed me because of the characters like related to feminism or whatever, but I'm trying to think, but no. Oh, tell me. Was that laugh? Evil laugh.
Yeah. Okay. So the most allegedly feminist book that I ever read is The Power by Naomi Alderman. It's a book that is supposed to be like the apotheosis of feminism, and it's a world where women develop this kind of magic, paranormal power, and they can shock men by touching them with their hands at their will.
Okay.
The thing is that the whole concept of this book is what happens when men realize that they are not naturally biologically in power anymore. And I thought, hey, that's great, because biologically women are less strong or stuff like that. It's just biology, it's not about worth. Okay, it's just biology. It's a fact, and I can do nothing about it. This book was kind of trying to bring this concept upside down. What the book did, though, was to make the women get in this power that was biological and transforming the society exactly how men do to our society. And they were basically going to bully men into becoming their slaves. And that was the good, fantastic, happy ending of the book. And I hated that with my entire heart and soul, because the fact that you put the label of feminist onto this book was mind-boggling to me. It was not challenged. I would have seen this idea if this was challenged as, this is not feminism. If women got powers like that and you would do that with those powers, that would not be feminism. And I'm going to tell you this story challenging this concept to show you that this is not feminism, then I would be fine. That's kind of saying, oh, thank you. I love that we agree on that. And I mean, told the way that it was told, looks like they're saying, hey, women just want to be on top. And it's not that.
So Cleo had made a point. I guess the point was to show that no matter who was in the power, I believe the result would always be the same. But yes, I also didn't like it or think it was feminist.
But that's insane how people who always like, I'm not saying you, but like the book showed it that there is no alternative. Like it's one or the other. And there is no like working together. I don't get that.
And there are so many books, as we already said, that as this working together, and they are not talked about as feminist book or not labeled as feminist. When they exist, they are there. And books that do this crappy version of feminism, that is the version that men are scared of, and it's not an healthy one. So I agree, you should totally be scared of that because it's not healthy. But they exist. And another book that I thought did something that was dumb when it comes to feminism, and it was portraying feminism in a way that was like, come on. I mean, it's a YA book. Is Stalking Jack the Ripper.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I thought that it was totally dumb the way that she portrayed feminism, because she was trying to push this character to be like the basic version of a kick-ass female character in the, how do you call that, 19th century in the UK. It does not make sense. You cannot, like, it does not compute. You have to, if you put a contest, like if it's historical, you can be feminist for that time, but you cannot push it like too forward. Like, it's not saying, I am very smart, so I am going to use a computer in the 19th century. Is not that no, that's not compute. Same goes for feminism. You cannot tell me that something is feminist just because it would be feminist today, but it was just completely dumb then. It just breaks the discussion in a way. We are talking in two different levels, and so it just becomes performative.
Yeah, I get you. When you said like it breaks the conversation, it reminds me of, I don't know if you've read all the oh, that's something with a maze. All the
Maze Runner, or what do
no
you...
no all the best the boys.
To Best the Boys.
Yes, that
No.
book. So it's basically so basically it has to do with every year there is some kind of contest, and men, of course, men, they are allowed to go through that maze, and
Oh, I heard of that. I have not read it, but I've heard of that. Okay.
and there is some kind of competition and test, etc. And at the end, they get something. I think it's like a scholarship to something. I totally forgot. And of course, there is a girl who was like, "Okay, I don't understand that. Why men and not women?" So she's gonna dress herself as a man, and she's gonna go through that thing, like that maze, etc. And the thing is that it would have been great if it was like like showing the feminism in that book, like from the very beginning, but actually the entire time she was just focusing about what's at the end, what's the entire secret of the maze, who is running that maze, etc. It wasn't focusing. Yeah, Mooney walking around.
That was super cute. I'm sorry.
It wasn't focusing on the fact that, yeah, she's capable of doing that. She's capable of going into that maze and going like further and
Yeah,
resolving the test, etc. It wasn't focusing on that. So that could be like a book that disappointed me. So yeah.
good.
And you, Lucian? You said it.
I always said venture,
Yeah.
but now I'm just nodding along because yet now I have 2 more books that I need to get rid of from my TBR shelf. So thank you.
Yeah.
So I totally lost the point. Oh yes, we also wanted to talk about some feminist tropes that are overdone.
Okay.
And I always saw one in the comment where I totally agree with, and that's that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's why
I
was
feel like, yeah. But I feel like you have that in YA. Girls hate on girls, or you have girls saying, "Hey, we gotta stick together. Let screw the man." You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like you have one or the other. You never have like, oh yes, you do. But I mean, most of the times, like I'm all about that. Let's stick together, help each other, or whatever. But it's not against the other. I guess it depends on the books. Like because the Girls of Paper and Fire, it's but that's a trope that's freaking annoying all the time. Women being there as sex slave. You have Girls of Paper and Fire. You have Girls of Fire, whatever. Two sisters, going to a castle because one is supposed to become a concubine. Concubine, I'm not sure you said it. And the other one is supposed to serve the sister, etc. And there is a third book that I've read recently. It's also about that woman going to a castle in order to be some kind of sex slave because the king demands it. I'm like, and of course they're gonna rebel it, they're gonna go against it, etc. But I feel like it's always the same. I know that sex slave is a thing, but it's just the way it's done in YA. I feel like it's light, like I don't know, I know it's YA, so it's not supposed to be like as in an adult book, like more in details, more like heartbreaking, really make you think and be like, wow, okay, that really happens, like that's horrible. Okay, no, I'm realizing that I'm like lucky, etc. You know what, that kind of discussion. But in YA I feel it's just like, okay, that woman is a sex slave, okay, you know what I mean? Like it doesn't shock me anymore. No, but that's bad.
Yeah.
That's bad because I got used to girls being like sex slaves in books, and I don't feel like it's normal.
Or just
No.
being like they're there for the man, like the desire of the man. That's what women are for. I also hated in books. I don't know if it's really a trope or anything, but I hated that for females in most books, the end goal of them is being married or in a relationship. Why?
Even
Yeah.
even worse, getting pregnant. If you're not getting pregnant, you're not a woman. Or the miracle pregnancy. Oh no. That one is a big.
The miracle pregnancy.
Yeah, when a woman was not able to have children, like usually it's a romance
Oh yeah.
books. I do not read romance, but I happen to read just one that had this trope, and now I cannot mention it because I already said that it has a trope.
Yeah.
So okay, good job, Ola. Great. Anyways, this book does this, and this woman did not want to have children. Thought she could not have children, and at the end, miraculously, she gets pregnant, and she has tons of children, and she has the best mother ever. It does not make sense. It's also offensive for all the women that can really not have children. I probably cannot have children because my body got fucked up while I was sick years ago. And it's weird, honestly, because that does not define you in society if you can or cannot put out offsprings. And that's not also what defines a woman. not all women have uteruses, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and if she cannot have kids, let me take off that glasses because with a reflection, like if they cannot have kids, is their problem. That's their fault. Like
Yeah,
like even like I'm rewatching Peaky Blinders. Oh, there are feminists like in Peaky Blinders. Never mind. That's a show. That's not a book. That's and there is a woman in there. She's like, yeah, we're trying everything. I cannot like be pregnant. Whatever. It's my fault. And then of course she realizes that it's not her fault because she gets pregnant, but by another man. But she cannot
Oh, yeah.
say that it was because of her husband. You know what I mean? Like it's her fault that she cannot carry a kid. Like I just find like it, I don't know, it doesn't sit well with me. Like, and also it's always like, as you said, it's a problem with women who cannot bear children, but also with the one who just don't want to. Like how
yeah,
many times I said I don't want kids, and people are like, you're gonna end up alone, you're gonna have no purpose in life, and your life is gonna be miserable. And I'm just like, why do you care? Like, who are you to tell me that? Like, because I'm a girl, I'm a woman, need to have children because that's the purpose of my life. That may be the purpose of your life. And I respect that. And I love you for that. If that's what you want, I wish you all the best. But don't expect every single woman or every single couple, because not all men want kids or don't want kids or whatever. So I just don't get that pressure. It's not like we are back in 100 years ago where you needed
oh,
to
you're
have
really
kids,
right.
5, 6, 7 kids, because the society was that bad, the health was that bad that you were losing half of your kids. And it was to make sure that like you had kids that could work and provide money, etc., provide food on the table. It's not the society. And nowadays, when you talk to people, it's actually quite the opposite. It's expensive to have
Yeah.
kids. So people
And it's
have
also
less and less kids.
irresponsible to have kids if you cannot provide and take care of them
Yeah.
properly. So there's that. But
Yeah.
I mean, I am a person that never really wanted to have kids. And then I found out that I actually can't. And I'm not gonna lie, that was painful because the choice was taken away from me and that I don't like. But
Yeah.
still, I am lucky, let's say, because it was never a dream of mine. But I cannot tell you how many times I have people around that maybe know my mother and they get to know me. Oh, she's my daughter. Oh, hi. So, do you have kids? No. When are you making a baby for your mom?
Oh.
I'm
Yeah.
not. So, come on. When? Come on. Make one. I can't. Oh. It's very easy to shut them up, but it's not also nice.
But
What?
that's especially because you're in Italy. I feel like
Yep.
it's like in Belgium, I just get like, oh, okay, so what's gonna be your purpose in life or whatever. But here in Bosnia is, but your parents, they need grandchildren. They need them.
Yeah.
That's your
Yeah.
goal. They had you, so you could
It's not
give them
only your goal,
grandchildren.
it's your responsibility for your parents also.
And I'm just like, what?
I would
Yeah.
Yeah.
also love to
Oh, yeah.
know if these
Children
people
mine.
would.
I have a children.
Oh,
How cute.
so
But
fluffy.
what I also always want to question is, would these people that ask these questions, why are you not gonna to have children or something like that, would they ask the same a man? That's always what I want to know.
That's why
I would
we
love
talked
to
about
know,
him.
would they ask the same question to a man, or question why he wouldn't want to have kids?
Actually, when I was living in Canada, in Toronto, we talked about that, men, girls, blah, 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 difference. And I got some kind of answer to your question. And
Perfect.
the guy was like, no, I don't want kids. I don't have time for that. I just don't feel it like it. And the answer, the woman was with, yeah, she was with her boyfriend or whatever. And she said, oh, you want to focus on your career. I understand. And I was just like, okay, so a man is allowed to have a career. He's allowed to say he doesn't want kids, but I cannot. Like, I cannot have a
Oh.
career. Does that mean that my career is pointless? Like, you know what I mean? Like, and that
Yeah.
shocks me because it came out of a woman's mouth. And I was like, are you serious? And I totally understand we are all different, and some, they see it as like an obligation to have kids, and if that's what you believe in, okay, but don't assume that we are all the same.
And see, this discussion that you've just brought up, and thank you for bringing it up, is exactly why I brought up that trope, because it's so ingrained in society that even women sometimes do not recognize it. It's a problem.
Yeah.
But also, I have another trope that quickly I want to say. I hate when feminism in a book is, they try to show that a woman is strong and feminist with different looks. Oh, she's very tall. Oh, she has not big boobs. Oh, she has a crooked nose.
Yeah.
That does not make her feminist, nor badass, nor kick-ass, nor strong. She might be the dumbest and like softest thing ever, and she might be absolutely a piece of shit. Or she might be the best feminist person ever. But that does not dictate anything. If you have this color hair, if you're tall, short, big boobs, butts, noses, lips, whatever.
Yeah.
Totally agree. So, Cleo also rate related to trope
Yeah.
to miracle pregnancy,
Accidental pregnancy, and then, oh, okay, I feel like becoming a mom.
Yeah, immediately, like that motherly instinct always kicks in at the perfect timing.
I'm just like, oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
That just like, maybe yes, because I don't know, like maybe hormones or whatever,
Sure, that's nature, but you cannot tell me that every single time it happens. It's not possible. Otherwise, we would not have things like the possibility of abortion and stuff like that. So the problem is that it's so ingrained in society that every single time that it happens, it's, oh my God, yes, I'm gonna be the best mother ever. That's the problem. Not that it happens. It's that that's always the chosen portrayal.
What I also see way too often, not only in books but also in the television, is that with the accidental pregnancy, that the mother hormones to protect your child only kicks in the moment they're at the clinic to get the abortion.
Oh,
That's so true. That's so true. Yeah.
And I'm like, why? Why exactly in this moment did you decide to, oh, I'm gonna have the child, when you months or like weeks before thought about if you're able to have a child and waste that child, and you say no, want to get the abortion, and then when you're there, you're just like, oh, magically I'm gonna raise this child. I don't know how, but I just do it. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Why?
I guess like after discussing with so many people, and because you're scared to make a mistake, and I think it's really difficult to imagine, like, if you haven't gone through that, to imagine what's going through someone's mind, like, and everything you hear around, whether you're alone going through that alone or with someone. I think I mean, in real life. Now, in books, it really depends how it's done. If you are following, let's say the book's going to focus on that, or it's going to be a main event in the book. If you see the process, the mind process, the thinking process, whatever, okay, you can change your mind. But if it's just like this, then I don't get it. What was the point? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
you just needed to mention that.
I think you're absolutely right, and it's a totally valid thing to go through in life. What I was trying to get at is that it's a trope that it always happens like that, and it's always, oh no, it's gonna be fine, and it's just a given. It's never explained, it's never showed, it's never told. It's just, yes, it's a trope. It's right. I don't need to explain that to you, and that's why I don't like it.
Yeah.
But I completely see and acknowledge the validity of all of that, and how difficult it must be to go through that. So I was not trying to downplay any in that scenario, but the fact that it's taken out of context and used as a trope because it's just what society thinks is correct for women, that's what I don't like, and what I think is not feminist. That was all.
Yeah, because if you just want to mention that to show that you're pro or cons or whatever, I mean, the story is not about the author. It's about the characters and the process they're going through. But yeah. Oh, that's super smart.
I never asked that actually.
No. Okay, I'm just gonna turn on the light because it's getting dark. I'll be right back.
Okay. But that's really smart to say, smart thing to say, Cleo.
Yeah.
So, oh wait, I should first. So Sasha is back.
Yeah.
And we can see her. Perfect. So now we're getting to some strong female characters or just female characters in different environments. That was actually a question the reading which wanted to include in the live. So now I'm a little bit lost what she really meant by it. But yes, I believe when I think about that was that some years ago, I don't even know the name of the online comic anymore, but I really liked it because when our main character, the woman, when she was at home with her husband, she was like this sweet housewife, but the moment she was at work, she was like she was totally sassy and totally different from how she interacted with her loved ones. And maybe that's with different environments and how women change and are not always the same at home and at their work and everything. What do you have to say about that?
Well, I think
I
yeah, go ahead,
go.
Ola.
I was saying that I think that a good example could be again Game of Thrones and maybe Arya Stark, because she has to act as a lady during the first part of the book, but she actually goes out and train with wooden swords with the like butcher guy, and she played with the wolves in the woods, and she wants to learn. And she's the best of all of her brothers at shooting arrows and stuff like that. And I think maybe that's kind of the point of the woman that you are asked to be, because that's society, and the woman that you want to be, regardless if it mirrors society or not. And sometimes you can maybe carve a space for yourself to be where you want to be if the circumstances really prevents you to be that person. And unless we achieve the level of feminism that will allow you to be that person actually on a day-to-day basis, maybe that's what the question meant, but I don't know. I'm just guessing.
I think it's like the way I understood is a mix of what you just said. Like, I think it's a mistake to think that, for instance, if you're a feminist, it's 100% of the time. Like, you have to wear that feminist outfit all of the time. It's not because you're going to be like saying, like, okay, as you said, Lucien, like, at work you are evil wears Prada, let's say. At home you're like sweet or whatever, and that's not a sign of weakness. It's just like we have different layers. Imagine if you had only one layer, like feminist. I mean, you're gonna fight every single day, and what you're gonna do at the end? Like nothing. You're not gonna move forward. You're not gonna accomplish, like, I don't believe you're gonna accomplish much if you constantly say, no, I want equality. That's not the way I see it. Like, that's not how you're gonna get it. So I think that's that, as you said, like in different environments, like we are different. Like, you are different with your friends, you are different with your parents, you are different with your grandparents, etc. And it doesn't mean that you're not yourself. It's just like you have different layers, I would say, like different, not personalities, but different way of acting, of behave. I don't know. So
I totally see that, but I kind of slightly, very respectfully disagree, because
yeah,
there's never an instance where I do not want equality and I do not want to strive for that. There are instances where it's not the time and place to really be proactive on that, to really act upon that. but there's never an instance where I am not inherently feminist. Maybe there are moments where I can't show it because that would be worse for me, would put me in even a lower level kind of place rather the one that I am already. Let's say I am at work, right? And I know that society is the way it is. And the hierarchy is that I'm here and my male colleagues are here. If I reacted, I would jump here. If I just played my part, which is not what makes me happiest, I would stay on that level or maybe just upgrade a little bit. So that I get, that I'm gonna use my layers to adapt and be flexible. But that does not take away the fact that I'm still feminist 100% every single second of my life, because I still want, at the end, the goal is always, I want equality. I just know that reacting in a certain way in this moment will not give me equality, would make myself be pushed even lower because people would get scared. Sometimes, actually, often, stubborn, strong-willed, fearless women are scary, and men that are already in power will push them even lower because they are more scared by them. So if that's what you meant with you maybe are not always acting feminist, is more this stereotypical feminist, because sometimes complying with the situation will make you level up faster and achieve equality faster. And it's kind of counterintuitive, but that's reality. That's a fact. I don't know if I made sense, but I tried, I promise.
No, you absolutely made sense. But what I had in mind is more like, to give you an example, it was like so many years ago with my ex, when like he was sick and I made the dishes. I helped him. And I had a discussion with friends, like girlfriends, and they were like, okay, but when you are sick, he doesn't do the dishes. And I'm like, no, because I didn't ask for help. And they were like, okay, so you do the dishes to help him. So that's being lower than when you were, you know what I mean? So that's more like on someone else's point of view. Like for me, it's not because I didn't ask for help. That's just the way I am. Like if I can do it, even if
Exactly.
I don't feel good, I'm gonna do it because that's me. But if you need help, I'm not gonna feel like I'm being some kind of servant or slave or whatever because I'm helping a guy doing his dishes. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I totally get it, but I also do not think that doing that is not being feminist, because it's something that you want to do, that you feel comfortable doing. If you were forced to do that and you would comply, that would be not feminist, because you
Yeah.
are forced into a situation that makes you uncomfortable. But since you are just okay with that, who cares? You know? That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
I think that the important thing also is doing things for us. Sometimes not helping makes us sadder than not. I don't know. It sounds weird for some people, but there are selfless people out there.
Shocking.
And it's
Yeah.
not everything necessarily about feminism, gender, society, roles. Sometimes it's just what I want to do. And that's feminist. If you want to do, you do it.
Yeah. You don't always need to fit in some definition, in some box or whatever. We're all different. You can be yourself before and not asking yourself, okay, if I do that, blah, blah, blah. Unless you want to analyze every single thing you're doing. But no one is gonna say that's an obligation. That's not mandatory. You do you, as you said.
And that's why at the beginning, when we were talking about what is feminism to us, I just said, I'm going to be boring because it's just equality. You know,
Yeah.
it's not that big of a thing, actually. It's really played up and it's built on, and it becomes this huge, scary thing when we talk about it, because it seems that it's, oh my God, what is going to be? What is going to happen? What is going to take off of me? And actually, it's just equality. If I want to do something and I'm a man, I am the most privileged possible kind of level. If I'm a white, straight, cis middle class to upper class man, I'm the most possibly privileged person. I can do whatever I want, whether it's like be a mission doctor, whatever in Africa, or whether it's being like a spoiled brat. I can do it because I want to. If I'm not as privileged, I do not have the choice, and that's unfair. When we are talking about feminism, we are taking like the slice of the cake that only takes in consideration gender, and that's the same thing. So having the freedom to choose whatever you want to do, whether it's to be of service or not, it's feminism because you are choosing it.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Sorry.
No, but I also think where this big misinterpretation of feminism may come from is that when I was a teenager, the media really played bad on feminists. Like they really portrayed them strangely, like, oh, you have to go without a shirt on, out without a shirt on, and protest and yeah, these things and everything. And I was shocked back then because in my little teenage brain I was like, what? I can't wear a bra now, but I just get to wear one.
But if you shave your legs, you're not a feminist. Ew.
Yeah, so that's how the media portrayed it. And now that I work in media, I understand why this happened back then, because back then and even now, most of men determined what's gonna be in the media or in the news and all of these things. And I think that's where the misconception comes from, that because men back then still wanted to hold the power and they were afraid of women that speak up.
Yep, I totally see that. And also they want to make feminism an evil thing so that women do not fight for feminism anymore, because it became an evil thing. And some women nowadays are still iffy about defining themselves as feminist. Well, it's like the most basic thing if you really take it as what it really is or really was in the beginning. And then, as I said, it was built on and kind of spoiled in a way sometimes.
But I feel like the media.
Talk, Sasha.
I'm reading so we can react to different cultures at different time periods.
Yeah, totally. But I also think that we mentioned so many different books so far, and probably we're going to mention it many more. So we are touching on many different eras and times and spaces, fantasy, reality.
So, Sasha, you wanted to say something.
Yeah, it's like, so I studied public relations, and I also went on TV or whatever and see how subject they were picking for the news that night or whatever. And I just feel like whatever the subject, they're going to pick the extreme ones. Like, because they want to shock people, because that's what people remember. And that's why I pretty much don't watch the news anymore. I just go on the internet and I'm going to read 10 articles talking about the same thing from different sources.
I do the same.
I always do. But yeah, because one side is like run by a man or whatever. The other company is like, let's say a feminist. Let's say the other one is liberal or whatever. She gets the money. She's private. Let's say the other one is from the government.
And I have the privilege to speak two languages. So I often, if I can, read the same news from two different countries. Like Italian, UK, America, whatever. I read them all because I want to see all the views.
Yeah, and I do that in Belgium. Like when we have a new rule, let's say like something is changing, whatever, the news in the French side of Belgium is going to say one thing and the Dutch side is going to say completely the opposite. And at the end, I'm not even saying which one is wrong or whatever. We are just different. We live different lives. We pay different taxes, even in the same country. So we see things differently. And so just like talking about the news, sharing those kind of pictures, it's easy to shock people because that's what they're going to remember. And that's how they manipulate what people think, by shocking them and only showing the bad things. And not a lot of people, like even when I talked about people, like about the news here or back in Belgium, whatever, to people around me, they're just like, I don't have the time to to make some search, or like to search something on the internet. I don't have time to just check the sources or whatever. And I'm just like, so you're just gonna eat what the news are telling you and just believe everything? Yeah, it's easier. Okay, you got the answer. Like, it's easier. It doesn't mean
Yeah.
it's true. That's just
Yeah.
like, I know it takes energy to do that, but it
Not.
depends.
Yeah, get it.
I don't know. I don't want, like that whole thing happening with a coronation, with a disease or whatever. I don't want to talk more about that because it could be triggering to some people. But when you see what, like, now that I'm in Bosnia, what I see in the news here, or people talking about and comparing it to Belgium or UK or whatever, I'm just like, are we talking about the same thing? Like, it's completely different. Like, the solutions are completely different. The rules are completely different, and I'm just like, why? Like, but never mind. Let's moving on. I'm getting mad here.
So, how do we get back onto the topic now? So, what we also want to talk about was, why is the representation of female characters not satisfying us, and what the misconception do some authors seem to have for female characters? So, a lot to break down here in this
Yeah.
question. A lot. I just leave it up a couple of seconds.
Mm.
Well, I think that one of the misconceptions that I already mentioned is that to be badass feminist, blah blah blah. But first of all, to be feminist, you have to be badass or kick ass and do crazy stunts. Not a thing. Like,
No.
it's a possibility, a very nice one. It's not the only one. The other thing that I already mentioned is that you have to have a certain look. You have to not look like the other girls, per se.
Yeah.
I think that's, for me, like, summarize it all. I can go in depth into that, but that's the main thing that really I do not like. Giving just one option.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. But now that I'm thinking about it, like, um, besides from A Natural History of Dragons, like all the other feminism like books I mentioned, like I checked like the list here, and it says, for instance, Throne of Glass is a feminist book, Akotar is, and all that kind of series. And I'm just like, if I just take Throne of Glass, okay, she's strong, she has some kind of like personality or whatever, she doesn't need a man, but she's gonna do what a man wants her to do, and she's gonna be strong, she's gonna be an assassin or whatever, but she's still like under a man's hand, kind of thing. I don't know, like I didn't read the entire series, so I could be completely wrong with it, but I feel like even with the other one, Girls of Fire, not Girls of Paper and Fire, but Girls of Fire or Girls of Rune. I cannot, by Tracy
Rune and
Bankart.
Rising?
That's the sequel, Queen of Rising. That's the sequel, right? I cannot remember. The two sisters. They're. It's just like most of the time, their relationships, like the feminist characters in a book, have a weird relationship with men, and that kind of bothers me because men are not like inferior or superior. They can be a friend, they can be your ally basically, and I don't see that enough in books, I feel.
Okay. When it comes to Plural Class, I would not say it's a feminist book, but I would say that it has some feminist characteristics, which is very different. And I think that we can appreciate that without it being necessarily a feminist book. But there are some feminist characteristics. For example, I'm just going to throw it in there, just something as basic as acknowledging periods, and that women have periods and they suffer for that and they cannot. It's feminist in a society where
Yeah.
it's such a taboo thing. So it's that. Or also things like, I want to flirt with two men at the same time and pick the one for myself, or even not pick at all. To me, that's feminist also. And those are traits that are presented in Feral Glass. Then the stories goes on, but I'm not even going to touch on the other books since don't want to spoil anything, but I would not call them feminist books, but definitely books with feminist traits. And while maybe it's not everything that we might ask for, I think it's still kind of an upgrade. And the same kind of goes for Ecuador. I think that she pulls in some very great talking points, not only about feminism, but I think that Sarah J. Maas writes exceptional PTSD representation, for example. I have PTSD, that's why I'm talking about that. But they are still like books for enjoyment. They are not like deep books. So I'm not gonna ask for something that, oh wow, mind blowing, this is educational. But it's cool that they have some good talking points into mindless entertainment, you know?
Did we mention a book that was written by a man?
Yes. Oh, wait, not really.
Well, Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones,
Yeah,
and I
sure.
talked about The Wheel of Time because of the characters, and I also saw just that this fitted in as well again for a good example because
and also The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo by Stieg Larsson.
Because with the Aes Sedai that I talked earlier, which are just women, they also have like a warder, but this warder is not there to like watch over them. They are equal and they work together. Like where the other one is lacking, the other one steps in. And that's maybe what would be a good example for how it should be. And that's what I really enjoyed. Could also be because his wife already better read his books.
I need to plug my computer, so I'm sorry. I'm gonna be back in a second.
Yeah, no worries.
Don't leave us.
No, second check, like, 17 books with fierce female protagonist. Game of Thrones is the first one.
Yeah.
Into the Water, also by Paula Hawkins. I don't know if you've read that one.
No, haven't read that one.
It's also mystery, thrillery kind of thing. But I'm really like checking all the titles, and I haven't read any of them almost.
I'm also always looking right over to my shelves because I'm like, do I have a book that's actually really feminist or anything besides these non-fictional feminist books? And I'm like, no, maybe not really, or I just don't know right at the moment.
The moment that my computer stopped dying, my internet started dying. So that was that. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay, no worries. But is here in my list, it mentions City of Bones series full of feminist characters.
I don't think so.
I'm just saying, I don't know, like An Enchantment of Ravens by Margaret Rogerson, and Sight, apparently as well, by Neil Schusterman. Like they said that Citra, one of the characters of Citra, is the representation of feminism.
Wait, again, which book?
Sight.
Really?
No. I don't think so.
I think we all have a different definition of what feminism is. And maybe for some people, it's just like a female character that just stands out and that rule the book or whatever. So maybe that's the definition as well.
Yeah, like Ola mentioned before, like the Hunger Games and Katniss being, or was it you, Sasha? I don't know, being a feminist book. And I was like, well, not really.
Yeah. But I think for some, like we all agreed that for us was equality, but maybe for some it's not like equality, it's more like a woman being able to do the same as a man. It doesn't mean really, like the way I see it, it is equality because you can do the same, but maybe it's not equality because she's going to be there and the man's going to be there, but she still does, like, I don't know how to explain that. I'm trying to understand people's point of view.
Cleo has another recommendation for us. Our character, Daughter of Empire. Anyone of you've read that?
No.
Well, thank you though.
Yeah, thank you, Leo. We definitely check that book out. So, do you have another book from your beautiful list, Sasha? Because I still see you checking.
I'm checking. That's just like because I've heard about Daughter of the Empire, but I cannot remember what it is. But I've seen so many people reading it, actually, by Redmond E. Fist. No, I don't know. But also I got Jane Eyre. Came a few times in that list. I don't know if you would agree with that.
I haven't read it. I don't know.
Well, for some parts, I don't know. With Jane Eyre, it's a little bit complicated because I think it's a classic, and you also have to put these in relation with the time period that they were written in, and that's why I always struggle with classics to say if they are feminists or not, because I first would need to understand the whole historical part where this story took place, and that's why I'm kind of like, yeah, and maybe no.
Yeah. And also like The Golden Compass.
I read it so many years ago, I don't even remember.
Yeah, I
Wasn't that about a little girl?
Little girl with all the demons and
Yeah,
like little like spirit animal, whatever.
I believe.
and
I
again,
touched
like
that.
in the book, she's trying to discover the truth, what is really happening with the kids and the demons. Because they all have like demons attached to them. It's like the body and the soul, for those who haven't read that series. So it's again a character, a female character, who's going to go on a journey in order to discover the truth. But I don't see really how feminism comes out of it.
I don't know.
But that's
I think for some people they really put a feminist label on it as soon as we have a female main character that is maybe gonna save the day.
You know what? I was thinking that maybe some people consider feminist a book as soon as it is not anti-feminist.
yeah, exactly.
Because all
Like
of these books that we mentioned, that they are not anti-feminist. They absolutely fine, but they are not like pushing it into feminism. It's just there, which is not bad. I'm not criticizing that. It's absolutely fair. But like, for example, Nevernight. I think I really love that series and all. I don't think it's necessarily feminist, but it's not anti-feminist. Like, it's okay.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say? I would not put it as a feminist book, but I would absolutely say that The Bear and the Nightingale and all that series, the Winter Night series, as a very feminist approach. It's different. Just that.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. You just summarized it well. What's not anti-feminist? Like, yeah, no, but that's true. It's just like interesting, like trying to understand what people like, what they see as feminist or not. Like, it's kind of hard, but you summarize it well. Yeah. But yeah.
So, then to go on, are there any traits in female characters that annoy you? Also, I believe we mentioned some already.
I don't know.
thinking pose is so cute.
Yeah.
You look so cute when you're like,
I don't know.
When they feel forced to go against something that is stereotypically feminine to show that they are feminist and badass. That's something I don't like. Like the old story, you can like dresses and also be an assassin or a fighter or whatever you want. Yeah, that's true. You do not necessarily have to despise anything that is stereotypically feminine or that society has accept as good for a woman to be feminist. I think it's great to have both, but I also think that it's great to show representation for that inner conflict of saying, can I really wear pink, or like, can I really like dresses while I'm doing all of this? I think it's great because it's a conflict that we experience actually, but it should be as well challenged, so you can see that at the end, yes, you can be both or all of the things together. There are no limits. But that
I love dresses.
Yeah.
I love some dresses.
I don't like dresses.
I have a very elven looking one that I love.
Oh.
Yeah, it's velvet, it's soft.
Oh, I don't know. I hate whiny characters, but that's not like related to anything we talked about.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know. It isn't really a book. It's more like a manga. I believe a lot of people know it, Naruto, and you have like a character that annoyed me really was Hinata, because she was this overly shy person, and I was like, okay, I know that there are people that are really shy, but also why to this extreme, like to these shy, cute, petite little girls, like that's also a threat that really annoys me and are just all about like, I love him so much and I want to support him, and that's what I really find annoying in some characters.
Yeah. I really don't find an answer, honestly. But yeah, I would say maybe, as you said, Ola, like not going from one extreme to another, and not like, I don't know how to say that, like yeah, as you said it, like it's not because you're gonna wear trousers one day, pants one day, that you're not feminist. That's not because you're gonna spend a day not putting makeup on your face or whatever that you're not feminist. Like, you know, that kind of stuff, like not embracing all your different, like,
Yeah. And by contrast, as I was saying before with Nikita Gill, also being a man and wanting to do, I don't know, dress well or take care of yourself, or like cut your hair or have long hair or wear makeup or whatever. Like, I think it's important when talking about feminism, also talking about men and their freedom to express emotions and all the other things. So I think that, I think I already said that, so I'm not gonna repeat it.
Yeah. Now just I remember a trope for male characters that I don't like is when we have a character that, for example, loves to dress up a lot, a male character that they're often supposed to not be strong in story, and I'm like, they can be strong just as any other man if they want to be, or smart. Just because they love to play dress up doesn't mean that they need to be weak. And
that's the thing that, for example,
me.
Akosar did well with Brizant, because he loves his fancy dresses and all the things. He's always described as, oh, he's like this sweater, not sweater, but whatever. But he is also the strongest one of them all. So it's kind of vain, but also it's the strongest. So that makes sense that you can be both. And I like to see that also in men rather than only in women, because in women we expect this discussion to come forward because it's feminist. But as we said, feminism is being equal, so we have to include everyone in the discussion. That's what I believe, at least.
So on to the next is, what would you think of sexuality and how it figures into female characters?
Who wants to go first?
I believe Sasha just wanted to pass the ball to us for going first.
Go ahead.
So I just take comics and mangas as book right now, because I think that's where we often see the portrayal of really like sexy characters, like big breasts, tiny waist, big hips and everything. And I have the feeling with mangas is often the woman is only attractive or like good if she has these physical traits. And if she doesn't, she won't be like a favorite of the readers. And I often don't understand that. I mean, we also have mangas where this doesn't apply, where they have like normal bodies and it also works fine. So I don't understand why we still have the need for these really like sexy characters.
Okay, but no, I am trying to figure out really the question actually, because the question asks, what do we think about sexuality when it figures into female characters? And that somehow, don't be offended, but that somehow bothers me as a question, because does it change? Like, I don't care if you are sexual or asexual, demisexual, queer, lesbian, gay, nothing at all. And it does not, like, it does not figures for me. It does not change how female you are, what you are attracted or not attracted to me. And that's kind of why I am so clueless and confused right now.
Yeah.
I don't know if it makes sense though.
It
So
makes sense, but
maybe-
yeah, I personally don't understand how it figures into female characters. Like, I don't understand that. Not, I don't understand what you meant, but I don't understand English. Like, the
Yeah,
stranger in me doesn't.
I'm not understanding this question either. Like,
I thought someone of you would, because that was one that we got over Twitter. And I was like, okay, maybe one of you can help me figure it out.
Does that mean that, for instance, a man who has different women in bed is okay, and a woman, like, I honestly don't understand the question, how it figures.
sexual freedom, maybe. Maybe it's about that. I think that whatever you want to do with your sexual life is good. And it's, again, all about freedom of choice. Whatever you want to do with your body, with your romantic life, with whomever, I don't care. If you have the freedom to do so, it's feminist. If you do not have that, it's a dictatorship.
No, I agree. Do whatever you want, as long as you, like, you're okay with that you respect yourself, and that you respect one.
Yeah.
Like,
And that you're not
you do
forced to do anything.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. That's a question. Like, as an asexual, I'm just like, I wouldn't put any kind of sex in it. You know what I mean? Like, no, but you do you. I don't see the difference if it's about, like, even, like, I don't mind having a girl saying, like, I want something now, like, I want something happening, I need a man right now, or I need someone in my bed right now. I don't mind that, because I don't know, that question is just so, I'm sorry. I don't know, like,
yeah, it all comes down to personal preferences and desire. And if you want it and you can have it, that's great. If you want it and you can't have it, that's the problem. That's how it figures to me. But
girls insisting on a man having to be there to protect them, to defend them, their views, to man up. Yeah. But that's like, as we said, like, that's not like equality. That's, I mean, I don't know. You can protect your man as well, like.
exactly.
Like, yeah. Maybe in a different way. Like, as I said at the very beginning, biology said that men are stronger for X, Y, whatever reasons, but you can protect them in another way. And it doesn't mean that a woman cannot be stronger than a man. A man can be, like, weaker than a female. I don't like the word weaker, but, like, we're all at different levels, and some are maybe working out, some are not, whatever. And yeah, I don't know why I'm talking about that, but whoever, you can protect the other one, whether it's a female, like talking here, female character or male character, or anyone you can protect, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So then maybe to a question we understand better.
Okay.
Sasha's hopeful. What would we love to see change or read more of?
Like, I think that what I would like to read more of is, like, you got me intrigued with the fact that you said that the Bear and the Nightingale, like, it's a setting for feminism coming after. It's telling a story, and it's not like jumping on your face telling it's going to be feminism all over whatever. It's like subtle, and it's telling a stories. That's what I would like to read more. It's like also like a natural history of dragons. It's more than that. It's not just a woman saying like, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to be blah blah blah, I'm asking for some rights. No, it's making it happen in a way that it makes sense, and that makes the story. I think that's what I want to see more, and less is like, oh, okay, I gotta be pretty in order to please the whatever, and then I'm gonna take the kingdom over, like that kind of thing, like that kind of just sick of it. But yeah, so the story thing, I don't know if I made sense.
You made absolute sense, and I totally agree with you. I think what you're trying to say is that we want to see the growth, the arc.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be told like basic performative feminism just to show that this character is feminist or this story is feminist. I want to see the story and to learn it myself, that to feel it, not to just read, hey, this book is feminist, goodbye. That's what I want to see. And like same goes for Game of Thrones and the girl with the dragon tattoo. Is never you're never told, hey, you know, they are feminists.
No.
It's always you learn about these characters and you see where they're coming from and where they want to go and what happens in between, the ins and outs and all around, and that what makes it great. So that.
So Cleo's helping us out again with the question we had before.
Lack of feminist characters with different sexualities. Have you ever read a book with how do you say that in English? Plurisexual?
Pansexual.
Yeah.
Again, I didn't understand you right now.
Pansexual.
Oh, I believe.
Again, Lisbeth Salander is, for example, she refuses to choose a label because she does not to identify. She just states that she likes whatever she likes. That's technically the definition of pansexual, but also bisexual, depending on what is your definition for the two things, because people interpret them in different ways. So technically, yes, I am.
Yeah.
So, and there are other books that I don't know. They never even state the sexuality, and I think that it's not as an important point to say that you are feminist. Like, of course, it's important to talk about that. It's great representation. We need that, but it's not what makes you or not feminist. And that was I was trying to say before.
Yeah, polyamory. Also that.
Also, that in the girl with the dragon tattoo.
Oh, really?
They are in a poly relationship.
Yeah, because I don't feel like it's a thing in YA. So even asexual, like,
I think that would be kind of dangerous to write polyamory in a YA book, because teenager that would go probably and think it's something that is not.
Yeah.
It would be very complicated to explain it without many words for some teenagers.
Yeah.
Like, just as a topic, I'm not saying it's wrong. I think it's so valid and beautiful, but would be kind of complicated to incorporate like mindlessly in a story, unless you're making a story about polyamory, and then you can really explore that. But throwing it there in a YA book, I don't think would be really easy, while it is in an adult book, because you're an adult, you are responsible for yourself. Oh, Sense8 is a TV show with polyamory.
Oh, okay, because people kept recommending me that show, so it's on my list. But it has so many
recommended
things.
it to me as well, and I did not understand what, but now maybe I do.
Yeah. So many people, like, I had on Twitter so many people talking about that one, saying everyone should watch it, blah blah. And I don't even know what it is about. I just know the name, so that's intriguing. But yeah, I don't know.
So where were we? We were
Next question.
next question. Just okay. How would your perfect female character look like,
Like
or your perfect feminist character?
like behavior, right? Correct. Like
Yeah.
behavior. Whoa.
To me, is driven.
Yeah.
Like that tells it all. If she is driven and she will not surrender to the first like obstacles, and I don't know, that's what I want to see. I want to see the struggle, and I want to see the drive, and I want to see also the drive kind of faltering sometimes, but then going back into the willpower and tapping into your raw energy and to your stubbornness and using it for good. That's, to me, is, yeah.
Sasha's still thinking.
Yeah. I think it's like
It's a hard question, right?
it's a hard question because every time I read a question, I have answers that don't answer that question, but that answers something else. Like, for instance, for me, I would like more like I feel like in all the books I've read, the characters were kind of lonely and they were working alone or whatever. And I just someone who wants change to happen or wants power or whatever, okay, I get why the trope always include like lonely people, but I don't think it has to be that way.
That's a
So
great point.
for a female character, I would like to have a female character who knows what she wants. She wants to get it, and she's not scared of saying, "Okay, I did it wrong this time. It's gonna be okay next time." Or she's not scared to actually seek for allies, and even in men, etc. And I really want characters like feminist characters to see it as we said, equality, and not just being like, I don't know how to say that, but as good as them, just being equal. It's not about being good or less good or whatever. It's being like on the same level kind of
I
thing.
want to be as good as I can possibly be without limiting myself because of like society or,
Yeah.
yeah, I get it. I agree.
Yeah, also agree. And what I would also love to see more in books is, instead of girls hating on girls or women hating other women, it's just women supporting each other.
Y'all
That's-
need to read City of Girls, I'm gonna tell you.
Yeah, I would totally love to see that more in books, because it's also important. It's also important for girls to read that girls don't need to hit on each other to be good or their best self.
That
Yeah.
just seems crazy that we would hate on each other just to hate on each other. Like, I don't get it. I was never like that. And that kind of behavior in high school, whatever, just because, like, you know, like the popular girls and the other girls. And that never, like, made sense for me.
I think that's because it's also part of the problem, right? That in society, women are kind of the prize and men choose women. So you try to be the most viewed one because you have more possibility to be chosen as a prize. And you, but that's not feminist. You do not want to be a prize. You do not want to be a possession. You want to be active.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of something that is left in society that we kind of inherit, like, I don't know.
I don't know if what I'm going to say is going to be upsetting, but the way you describe it and the way it actually happens, it's basically being an animal.
Yeah.
You know, when the man has to be like the more colorful, whatever, or the man.
But see, in
The
nature,
male
it's
and
the opposite. And our society flipped it upside down. And if we think about that, even humans in nature, way, way, way back then, it was a matriarchal society. And then it was flipped with religion coming in.
yeah,
That's history. I'm not making the rules.
that's an entire other subject. But
Yeah, it's too long. Let's go on with.
but you're so right. Like, you're so right.
Thank you.
So you say good on, but that was actually the last question I had
Oh,
for you.
really?
That was the
Oh,
last.
we've been talking for an hour and 40 minutes already.
You
Uh,
didn't realize that?
no, I didn't realize that. I'm sorry. No, but that's interesting. Like what was interesting is that we had the same point of view from the very beginning, like on equality, and
Yes.
that actually helped me with this conversation because, as I said at the very beginning, when I typed strong female like feminist characters in YA, whatever, all I saw was kick-ass characters, and I was just like, was I wrong thinking that feminism was about equality in books or whatever, that now you think it's just like being like, it's basically telling that feminism in YA is having the main character, like a female character, as the main character, and I kind of felt that disturbing, but yeah.
I am really happy that also we all agreed on that, because I think it's like the biggest misconception about feminism.
Mm.
And I even heard sometimes men saying a man can't be feminist, like that would be like putting down men. I was like, hey, no, maybe you were taught something wrong, maybe I think that also the internet sometimes like completely. I once heard this definition of the feminism that is the one that is misinterpreted as the Tumblr feminism.
Mm.
That was like that kind of weird representation just because it was cool to be feminist, and it's not actual feminism. So I don't
Yeah.
know, kind of weird, but I was really happy, and it made it very enjoyable to talk about the stuff with you, because we were all on the same wavelength.
And I love also that we include men saying that they could cry, they could talk about their emotions, etc., because we focused on female characters obviously, but the pressure that some men are feeling as well, like, you are the strongest, you cannot cry. Like, even here in Bosnia, I remember when my brother was a kid, oh, you're a boy, you cannot cry.
Yeah,
That's just like so wrong, and
yeah.
that can stay in your mind, that can stay in your brain and completely change you for your entire life and block you at some
And
point.
it's been studied psychologically that this toxic patriarchy also puts a lot of pressure on men. And when we talk about feminism, sometimes we forget about that. And a lot of problems that we have with men in our society today, trigger warning now for harassment and assault and stuff like that. But those kind of behaviors might be brought up by a wrong sense of masculinity and sense of you cannot let our emotions. So people like bottle up so much, and they become so toxic, they become dangerous for other people, especially
Mm.
women, because they have internalized misogyny. And so that's the problem of non-equality, or shall I say equity, which would be the best word actually
Yeah.
to say that. So if you're watching this till this point, please, every time that I say equality, swap it in your brain with equity, because that would be the great one. But I
Yeah.
got it after an hour and 43 minutes, so I'm sorry.
No, but I love the way it's summarized. Like, women have to be women and men have to be men. When women can act as men and men can act as women. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like that we say act as a male, as a man, act as a woman.
Man
Like,
up.
there is
Yeah.
no definition of that.
Oh,
Like,
you're such a pussy. Oh, man up. Stuff like that. It's
it's
toxic.
just like, let it be, like, let him be how he wants, let her be like how she wants,
Yeah.
whatever. And I problem with society, and I feel we have the same at school, when you learn a certain way that 1 + 1 is 2, and you don't like allow the kids to imagine things differently or whatever. And it's like, a woman is like this, a man is like this. And I we have that in Belgium, like, in December you have Santa Claus, but we also have Saint Nicholas at the beginning of it. And every year you get the books with all the toys that they can bring to the kids, etc. And you're gonna see the guy is playing with cars and whatever, and the girl is like doing the dishes or cooking or whatever. And I just hate how there is a definition for who you are and who you can be and who you will be. That just like, I just find it sick nowadays, especially. It was a certain way 100 years ago. We moved that. I mean, at least I
We should
wanted.
have.
Yeah, exactly. And we're still at that stage. Like, we're still like
I
putting
personally
like,
like to think about feminine and masculine as we think about that in witchcrafts. As I mentioned, I be tarot. I consider myself a witch and all of that. And it's kind of, as I said during the live stream, the yin and the yang
yeah.
is equality. Is not a gender. Is not a role. Is not a destiny that you must or fulfill in society. Is equality. And a funny story is that a night I was with my stepdad and we were watching a like TV something, and it was about neurology, and it was talking about the left and the right side of your brain. And then they said, okay, let's do a test. You have to count how many answers you pick instead of how many B answers you pick, and then at the end we're gonna tell you which side of your brain you use more. And it was that the one is feminine and the other one is masculine. So me and my stepdad like looked at each other and well, let's do that. So we did that, and at the end I was B and he was A, and the people in the TV thing said, okay, so if you have more B, you are more masculine. If you have more A, you are more feminine. And we look at each other, it was like, that sounds about right. And he's very comfortable with that. And I think he is a great man. I really admire him a lot because he appreciates that part of himself and empowers my masculine traits, for example. And I think that's an example of feminism in my own family, which I really appreciate. So I think it's important to recognize also the little things sometimes.
Maybe the problem and the misconception are why people are misunderstood is because we say female and masculine, feminine and masculine, instead of right and black, like yin and yang, etc. So maybe that's also like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know either. I think we have a question in the chat.
Yeah.
So, have you ever read a book considered to be great or classic, which you didn't like because of the representation of women? Oddly, you have the hardest questions, to be honest. A classic.
I know I have, but I have to think of which one. Because I'm not really a huge fan of classics, let me tell you.
I'm also not really a fan of classics. I believe the only one I like is Faust by Goethe.
I love Oscar Wilde, but I think that he is so like sarcastic with everyone that I cannot even like falter him for that, because it's just like he's gonna shade you. Period. That's it.
Well, but maybe Romeo and Juliet. I mean, I've already said that in the last talk we had or live stream that I absolutely hated this story.
I hate it as well. But again, I hate everything about it. So I cannot say that is because of the representation of women that I do not like that one. I think it's dumb, period.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, but like all the classics, like I've read a lot of classics at school. I love classics like Dracula, Frankenstein, Count of Monte Cristo, all the Jules Verne's like sci-fi-ish that he wrote many years ago, I love them all. So I don't really can remember any female characters in those books. Like this, the only one that came to me like is Alice in Wonderland. But it's not that the representation of women has some issues in it, like from my point of view, but compared to all the other classics, it's completely different. Like the classics like Count of Monte Cristo, he has so much power. Jules Verne, he shows like science, how men are being inventive, etc. Of blah blah blah. Dracula, power, and Frankenstein as well. Yeah, maybe there should like, and here in Alice in Wonderland, you see that this is a silly little girl who lived a silly little adventure, and nobody believes her. You know what I mean? Like it's not comparable. Like I don't know. So I'm trying to think of all the
I
classics
think
I've
it's
read.
complicated because classics are set in a time where
Yeah.
it was very different. And so what was feminist then is absolutely
Mm,
like dated for us.
yeah.
So I don't think we can really judge that in that way. And I get that the question was not exactly that. It was just, hey, did you hate some women
Mm,
representation so much that you hated a book in classics? Honestly, not that I can think of, but I'm sorry, I'm going to disappoint you with my answer.
I'm trying. But is there a book with a strong female character that everyone seemed to love and you hate it? Like, let's.
Mm.
I have a
Let
mixed.
me quickly sort my Goodreads from your list
Okay.
so I can.
Go ahead.
I have exactly the opposite thing. I have a character that I like and a lot of people find annoying in a classic, and that is Emma by Jane Austen. Like, I
Oh.
totally love Emma, and a lot of people, also in my real life, don't like Emma as a character because she is
Mm,
so bubbly, and she also always wants to let things go her way and influencing
mm,
people and manipulating them. And I really like her because she does it in such a funny way, because she's like, oh no, that's not good. Let's do it the other way. Um,
mm.
and I just find it so funny, and I really enjoy her, but a lot of other people are hating on her. It's
Yeah.
not the opposite with me.
Yeah, I'm trying to think also about a character that I loved and
Ooh,
nobody
ooh,
else
ooh,
loved.
ooh.
Oh,
I
wow.
found it.
Spell the T.
Sorcery of Thorns.
Oh my God.
I thought that she was one of the most Mary Sue characters ever, and she was
Yeah.
portrayed such as a strong character, badass. She's a librarian. She's so tall and beautiful and smart, and she just so basic.
Yeah.
I really did not see the appeal. Give it 1 star. Oh, I got another one.
The reaction.
Go, go, go.
I am going to apologize to everyone that loves this book. 9,000.
Oh no, I agree. I don't hate that book. I don't love that book, but I agree with that. Absolutely.
I
But the mentor, yeah.
terrible. I hate that book with a passion because of the horrible representation for trigger warning for traumas and assault of those for traumas revolving sexual assault, rape, and rape after being drugged. All things that I unfortunately have experienced. It was devastating to read because it
Mm,
was so poorly handled that it literally makes me sick. Sick. Like,
mm,
no. I did not like the book as a book, but that was like absolutely no.
yeah.
That was a real problem for me. Something that I cannot say, yeah, maybe it's polarizing, maybe you can like it or not. That's really a problem.
Mm. I had an issue with Blood Hair by Amelie Zhao, whatever. It was a retelling of Anastasia. And
I
I'm a
heard of
sucker.
that.
I'm a sucker of these kind of books, like Romanov, etc. Like, give me
Yeah,
all of it.
I love
And
Romanov.
look, the book Romanov, you've read it by
Yeah,
Brandes. Yeah, it's just amazing.
great.
And Blood Hair, the entire time you have that main character who's like, I'm the strongest. I don't need anyone. I can do it. Blah blah blah. And then after 2 minutes, she gonna trust a guy she just met. And like, yeah, but everyone fears me because I have like the blood power kind of thing, and that's like the strongest one, the most dangerous one, whatever. And she's gonna try to fight. After 2 minutes, she's like on the floor, tired, she can't move anymore. And I'm just like, when the narrative doesn't go well with like the description of the character doesn't go with their actions, I'm just like, what's the point? And it's not directly like linked to what we talked about, but like that's something I really do hate in books. It's like you tell me, but you don't show me.
Yes. Yes.
So yeah.
Agree.
I don't know why, but I just needed to think about all the Disney princesses when we started talking about like the characters and how they just randomly meet someone and are so trusting of them. That's when I needed to think about these Disney characters. I also think that the more modern Disney characters like Rapunzel and Elsa and Anna are like not.
Merida.
Huh?
Merida. I love her.
Merida is great, but with Elsa and like Rapunzel, a lot of people love them and say they are so feminist, and I'm like, have you ever watched like Megara from Hercules? Like she is a feminist character to me, or like Mulan.
And she also shows the conflict, which is what I love. I love to see that conflict. Like, I want to do this, but I also feel that I am what is right, and then you understand that everything is right. You can be all the things together. Good for you. Enjoy your life.
Yeah, so that's why I don't understand why these modern Disney princesses are always considered feminist when we already had some like or really amazing.
Like Mulan is a good example.
Yeah, Mulan is a good example. She's really good example.
I love Mushu too.
And also our bisexual king of Shanli or Shangli or whatever his name is. Absolutely adore him.
Yeah.
Can you please leave that bug alone? No.
Aww.
There's a bug there and she wants to... I know, but you are going to destroy all my crystals.
Weird questions, but do you talk to your cat usually in English or in Italian?
Both.
Oh, both.
Depending on if I'm speaking English, I'm going to talk to her in English.
She's a bilingual cat.
Yeah, I see that.
Why do you talk in different language with Mooney?
Mooney, so as I got her in Canada, I was talking to her only in English, but she knows like to sit, paw, and down. That's in Boston, actually. That she knows. So, but I usually talk in English, but to ask her to do things in Bosnian. But now, since I'm here in Bosnia, I tend to talk Bosnian naturally, like all the time. While in Belgium, I never get to talk to her in French. Like I never. So that's just weird. I don't know. But yeah, she's also bilingual.
Well, there's more, or
I don't think we have any more questions. Also, there's nothing in the chat anymore. So I think we've nearly talked for 2 hours, and it's Monday tomorrow, so maybe we
waking up at 5.
Maybe we should now let this come to an end. You already talked about how great it was. Maybe some words you still want to add?
Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed this. It was really fun. It was really also, how can I say that? Introspective in a way, seeing different things, and like, I also love that we could build each other up in our discussion. So thank you for all of that.
Thank you for joining us. I think that subject really fits you for some reason. Like I found it perfect. And yeah, thank you for understanding what I was trying to say, but didn't manage to. So I really appreciate that. So yeah, sticking all together.
I'm neurodiverse. I struggle with that every day of my life. So
yeah. So thank you for that.
Thank you for trusting me and my interpretations.
So yeah. No, it was really interesting. I really loved this conversation, and now I get to read a few more books.
Especially the Winter Night trilogy.
Yeah, that one. You really got me intrigued. Like I'm intrigued, like because this is so well done.
Look at me with my evil cap, like.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna start that book and sing.
Okay, Sasha has to read some more books. I have to throw some books out. But also, I really, really loved having you today, Ola. It
Thank you
was
so much.
so nice. Also, you brought so much more interesting points to the topic.
Oh,
And yeah, it was really great and wonderful. And I also thank for everyone who was watching and is maybe still watching. I'm really
everyone that will watch in the future.
or who watched in the future, thank you for watching. And then the last thing we need to say is goodbye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.